Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I was going to talk about my birth story today because I'm not very good at vlogging yet until we get our own place. I probably won't be as comfortable vlogging. I was gonna tell you about my birth story since I didn't vlog during my birth and everything. So I guess I'll start with when I found out.
Alright, yeah, let's start
So
with that.
I found out on January 15th, 2016. And the doctor called me because I went and got a pregnancy test done because I was supposed to get my depot shot again, but they always take a pregnancy test. So she called me and she told me it came back positive about 2 days later, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, so I called my mom first. My mom was the first one to know, and then I told my dad, which he was kind of not believing it at first. And I really wanted to tell Tyler in a cute way, but that didn't happen because he couldn't come down to Thaxton to see me. So I just called and was like, babe, you're gonna be a dad. In a very blunt.
When I heard that, I couldn't believe it.
But, ouch. It was exciting. There's a thunderstorm. My first ultrasound was February 29th, and they took the sonogram. It was an internal sonogram. I got to hear the heartbeat. His heart rate was 178 beats per minute. And I was estimated to be 9 weeks, 5 days, and my due date was scheduled for September 28th. So I was pretty early on. I was about 2 months pregnant. And we got to see Ryder, and he was moving and flipping, and he was so cute, and the whole room cried. That was okay. So I did have morning sickness really bad. I ended up having hyperemus gravidarum, something like that, where I couldn't keep anything down. I was throwing up water, I was throwing up my Phenagrin, and yeah, that's not fun to throw up because it burns. But yeah, so that wasn't fun. That was pretty much the only not really complication. That was the only symptom I really had at the beginning. I wasn't that moody at the beginning of my pregnancy. It was just throwing up every day. So after that was my gender reveal, and it was May 12th, and I wanted a boy. I really wanted a boy. It was just like,
we all wanted
everybody was like, oh no, it's gonna be a girl because you really want a boy. It's like, no, it's a boy. I can tell you now, it's a boy, boy, boy. So we get into the ultrasound room, and we're in there for like 2 minutes, and she's checking some things, and she's like, did you want to find out the gender? I was like, yeah. So she pointed it to his area. I was like, that looks like a boy. She was like, it's a boy. The whole room was like, yay!
Apparently it was like so obvious. My poor mom though,
yeah, she wanted a girl.
She wanted a girl so bad.
Because she has
she
3
was just
sons.
like, I'm happy, but
she's like, yeah, you got what you wanted. But yeah, then, okay, well, I'll go to my glucose test. My glucose test, I was up to 185 after an hour, so I had to go. Stop.
Wait, Lucas,
Yes,
we're gonna
and it's
die.
Pretty. It's
we're
pretty.
gonna die.
It's pretty. Okay, so the glucose test, I was up to 185 at the end of the hour, so I had to go back for the 3 hour, and after the first hour of the 3 hour, I was up to 270 something. So I was like, I already failed.
Oh yeah.
So I had gestational diabetes, but I really didn't have any issues except for the test. Like, I had normal.
My nipples.
Stop.
I'm sorry, my nipples.
I had normal. I had a normal blood sugar every single time. So that was pretty much okay. I didn't have any issues with that. So jumping to me switching doctors. I ended up moving to Roanoke with this one.
Yeah.
And I needed a new doctor. So I switched to a man named Dr. Harding. He was over at Lewisgale, and I was born at Lewisgale.
Best freaking doctor ever.
He's really good. I really liked him.
Too bad he wasn't at the delivery. But
And I was actually his first MS patient. And he was like, well, I've never worked with a pregnant MS person, so I'll take the challenge, all that. And then
he did us a solid.
he did a sonogram our first visit because we hadn't gotten one since the 20-week mark, and I was up to 30 weeks at this point. He wanted to check and make sure that he was okay himself. He was good. Then I started swelling really bad. Oh, it's normal. Oh, it's normal. Every doctor said it was normal. It's like, no, it's not normal. I started getting bad headaches.
No, it's not normal. 80 pounds of water is not normal. We're like, shush it, you're fine.
They kept telling me I was okay. And then my BP did start going up to a little bit higher than it normally did, so he admitted me for a night to check everything. They did a 24-hour urine test.
Is that the night that you went to Roanoke Memorial?
No.
Oh.
And they did a urine test, a 24-hour urine test, and it showed that my proteins were a lot higher than they were supposed to be. So they diagnosed me with mild preeclampsia. I don't think it was mild at all because
I mean, it didn't kill you, so
obviously
it's mild.
No, they're talking like my proteins weren't that high. But I'm an enigma of everything. Literally, a nurse said I was an enigma of life. Because whatever isn't possible or whatever doesn't seem possible, it will happen.
She's basically the human embodiment of Murphy's Law. If you do not know about Murphy's Law, it basically means that anything that can happen will happen.
Okay. So, one doctor, Dr. Walsh, wanted to keep me in the hospital until my due date or until they wanted to induce me, which they wanted to induce me at 37 weeks. But my doctor said, oh, we'll just keep a closer eye on you. That means you just got to come back every single week and all that sort of stuff. So,
What, you don't like that collarbone? Look at that. Look.
stop.
Fine.
So, I went back to him every week. The swelling kept getting worse and worse and worse until I couldn't walk. My skin was pitting this deep into my skin. It was really bad. It was really
fun to poke.
grotesque. It was grotesque.
It was funny.
So, it got really bad, and I was up to 250 pounds, which my start weight was 150. So I gained 80 pounds in water. Get your feet off that metal bar. Pure water. Like, it was bad. It was painful. I couldn't move. They put me on bed rest. And then one night, my skin started leaking. I thought that I had just spilled something. And I was like, so I wiped it off, and it just kept seeping out of my skin on my belly. Which my belly is where a lot of the water was contained, like right at the end of my belly. So I go to the doctor the next day.
God, we're gonna die.
So I go to the doctor the next day, and he's checking out Ryder. He's like, fluid's a little low, like lower than what we want it to be. And
Oh my goodness, it's like a hurricane.
said the fluid was lower than they wanted. It was low. He was having a hard time seeing him because of all the fluid, and then my BP was high. And I keep getting closer to my face.
Alright, that's it. Hold on. We're gonna.
So he comes into the room and he's like, okay, well, considering you're leaking and considering all this is happening,
God, it's Misty! Sorry.
and your blood pressure high, I think it's time to have a baby. I was 35 weeks and 3 days, something like that. So he induced me, and like 2 days later, I had Ryder. I pushed for 4 hours.
From
4
12 a.m.
hours.
to 4:21 4:21 in the morning.
Yeah.
He finally came through.
And he was having a hard time breathing.
He was breathing asymmetrically. His weight was
6 pounds. 6 pounds, 5.1 ounces.
6 pounds, 5.1 ounces. And,
so they had to take him to a different hospital because the hospital that I was in didn't have a NICU. I was completely lucid. I had no idea what was going on.
So it was really up to me to go back and forth to these 2 hospitals, make sure she's okay, and basically go check on my low rider man, right? Our low rider man. So I was basically kind of like the Hermes of these 2, just relaying messages back and forth and giving Ryder like stuff that smelled like her, and then go back to her and tell her that he's doing fine and how he's doing and everything.
Well, I was really sick, and I did get the epidural, but the epidural didn't help at all for me. It helped for the first hour or so, and then it just quit working. But because the magnesium sulfate, it didn't like that stuff. If anyone's had it, then you know how bad it is. You know how bad it feels to be on it. So I got off the magnesium sulfate, and 2 days later I was able to leave the hospital. I couldn't walk because of all the fluid. It hurt. I couldn't breathe, so I had to use a wheelchair for the first couple days.
You know, I just want to stop this.
He looks so cute. Sorry. Anyways, so yeah, he was in the NICU for a week, and his blood sugar was low from my gestational diabetes, and he was 4 weeks early. So he was in the hospital for a week, and then he finally came home. I don't know what day he came home. September 7th or September 6th. And all was well after that. So that was my pregnancy and birth story. I'll add a little slideshow of me and Ryder during the whole entire process at the hospital. Thank you for watching.